never noticed it because it was a long distance relationship. I can't even invite my family to the house. If I travel, my house will be a total mess. We've quarreled over it many times, and he said, I nag. I am tired. This was one of the questions I had the privilege of answering over last weekend in a women's group where I had the opportunity to speak. We had a question and answer session on raw issues that happen in our marriage relationships. And this was one of the questions that came up. You know, when the Bible said, little foxes that spoil the vine, I think that scripture is just meant for the marriage, because there are a lot of little foxes in the marriage that spoil the vine. They might look something small, they might look very small, look like it doesn't mean so much, but really they mean a lot. Because can you help me explain this? This is a grown man, grown enough to get a wife and marry, and he cannot flush the toilet. He cannot flush the toilet when he uses it. How do you tell this woman to stay and pray? How do you tell this woman to condone it? But then someone else asks, how did she not know and marry the person? Let's look at the church system. We do not encourage cohabiting together. Many churches, the lady and the man would never even spend any time together till they get married. Not to talk of spending the night together or spending time enough for you to know whether the guy flushes his poo or he doesn't flush his poo. So how does the woman get to know these things? How does the man get to know these things? And for all the times I've heard this kind of story, it's always mostly the men. And as far as I'm concerned, it is an upbringing problem. It's an upbringing problem. It's a childhood trauma problem, because he was not taught well. He was taught well as a child. He shouldn't think twice to flushing his own poo, right? And now, what do you want this woman to do? What do you advise her to do? Do you advise her to keep taking it? Do you advise her to keep quarreling about it? The man already said she's nagging and she's tired. So what did Amara think? This is what I thought. There are two ways you can handle this. Two ways you can handle this, right? One way is you leave the house and tell him when he changes and he's ready to be a full-grown man, you come back, hoping that he loves you enough to come back, right? He loves you enough to work on himself and call for you to come back. Or your marriage might be over if you leave. Then there is the other one, the Christian one, the one that could give you results, but it might take some time. Why don't you sweetly, nicely remind him every time you say it? Call his attention and ask him to do it. Call his attention and make sure he does it. Like, I don't know, maybe it's because they don't have a toilet that has a flusher. Maybe he has to carry water and he feels lazy to carry the water. I don't know how to explain this. Nobody should tell me it's demons. It has nothing to do with demons, right? It has nothing to do with demons. So if she can be patient enough, she can be kind enough to guide him through that phase of growing up, because obviously his mom didn't guide him through that phase, right? And that's why he's having this as a problem now that he's grown. These are some of the little foxes that spoil the vine. Before you get married, grow up, be a full-grown person. There are responsibilities you should take as an adult that you do not need another adult to remind you. You do not need another adult to quarrel you over it. You do not need another adult to nag you about it. These are things you should know and be doing as a responsible person, as a responsible adult before you get married. Right. Let's look at another question. Let's look at another question. My husband doesn't support me in doing chores, but I assist him in paying school fees and house rent. He refused to get me a help and calls me lazy when I ask him for help. This term school fees hasn't been paid because I stood my ground not to support him. 50-50 is a total scam. You see, the truth is this: there is nothing like 50-50 in marriage. In the God kind of marriage, there is no 50-50. The same way in our relationship with God, there is no 50-50. It's either 100-100 or nothing at all, right? So marriage is 100-100. There is no 50-50. What you're doing, you're not helping your spouse. You're working in your marriage. Don't ever see that when you're doing anything in the house, you are helping someone. If you see it like you're helping someone, you might withdraw that help when you feel your help is not being appreciated enough, or your help is not being re how do there's a word for this, or your help is not being reciprocated. You might decide to withdraw your help, and that's exactly what's happening here, right? Because this message of 50-50 have been preached on social media doesn't mean that's what the Bible said about marriage. Marriage is 100-100, meaning I give my everything, I give my all, you give your all too. I bring in my all, you bring in your all too. So what did I say to this lady? First, she needs to know that she's not supporting him in paying school fees for her kids, in paying the house rent. She lives in the house. The kids are her own, right? Now, is the man right for not helping in the chores? No, but what do you do as a woman? If you tell him nicely and sweetly, pamper him enough, because obviously he was not well brought up. If he was well brought up, he would have been doing chores without anybody telling him what to do or what not to do. But then, what you can do is to get a help. Get a help. If you can afford it as a woman, the help is for you. Don't go and die on top of house chores. Do not go and die on top of house chores as a woman. Most times I advise women, the house chores is your own. The house is your own. So share your chores out in a way that can give you breathing space. If you have 5 things to do 2 today, do another 2 tomorrow, do 1 the third day. Share them into the days of the week. You must not finish all the chores in one day. You must not do everything in one day. So if he is not going to help you, sweetheart, share the chores into different days. Do the one you can do per day. As it lets you do it. The next day you continue. And if you can get help, then get help. There are people who come and work in the house and they leave after working. By evening, they go back to their own houses. You can get help if you can afford it, because now your body, they go. Oh, please don't stop what you're doing in the school fees and the house rent because it's not helping you with chores. Come on, it's your house, it's your marriage, it's your children. What you give to them is not help. What you give to them is your responsibility, not help that you can choose to give or you choose to withhold. Hmm. These questions are these questions, they really touched me so much. Let's take another one. Today I didn't prepare to teach about sex. I just said, let's look through these questions so that you will see what the little foxes, those little things that you do not know are eroding your marriage, because as these things are happening to these people, they do not know that it's eroding at the foundation of their marriage. It's causing trouble in the foundation of their marriage. And one day, what was causing trouble in the foundation will show up in the house, because now it's not showing up. The walls are not cracking. Everything looks perfect. But surely, one day, the walls will crack, and then everyone will see that the foundation has had issues for some time. This person says, what will you do in a situation where you and your spouse are already tired of a marriage because you don't understand each other despite having prayed severally? It wasn't like this at the onset. What do you do? The part that made me laugh was when she said, when you have prayed severally, but you don't understand each other anymore. Knowledge is what gives understanding, really, not prayer. Knowledge is what gives you understanding. And if you don't understand someone, you have to seek knowledge about that person, not just go and pray. That go and pray that we've assumed is the solution to all things does not work anymore. It has never worked. If you don't have the right kind of knowledge, you pray from now till Jesus comes, and the answer to that prayer will not come, right? So this is a knowledge problem. He said, you and your spouse are already tired of your marriage because you don't understand each other despite having prayed. And it wasn't like this at the onset. Now, there are different phases to marriage. There is the honeymoon phase, when everything is sweet, everything is beautiful, everybody's trying to please the other person. Nobody wants to be angry with the other person. Everybody is understanding. And then after that phase comes the knowledge phase, where you get to know yourselves really. That's where you get to know yourselves. At that point where you get to start seeing the flaws, you get to start seeing the errors, you get to start seeing the habits, the behaviors that you didn't plan to see. Especially in the Christendom where you don't live with the person before marriage. There are a lot of things you do not know. So it's after marriage that you get to start seeing those things. It's like when carpenters are working, they get two sandpapers together and they scrub them against each other. At the beginning, the sandpapers are rough, their edges are rough. So as they scrape against each other, they are hurting each other. You see marks. It's a painful process for the sandpapers, right? They scratch and scratch against each other until all the hard spikes are gone and it becomes smooth. So the sandpapers now glide over each other smoothly. Same thing happens in marriage. The sandpaper phase is where you scratch against each other. Your deepest secrets are unveiled. Your flaws come to the fore. Your habits, those behaviors that you think you are okay with, but you do not know that others are not okay with, they all come to the fore. And both of you are scratching at each other, scratching at each other. Give it time, give it time, but you need knowledge. You need knowledge so that when those scratches come, they don't form permanent scars. They do not form permanent scars, but rather they scratch until you become smooth with each other, and then you flow together like there was never a time that you scratched each other. Believe me, there is no marriage that they did not scratch each other from the onset. Whether the person is a bishop, whether the person is a prophet, the person is a brother or a sister, there is no marriage that there were no scratches from the onset until they got a perfect understanding. Over time, this thing will take time, but the longer it takes is the less knowledge you have. The less knowledge you have makes it long, but the more knowledge you have makes it shorter, and you can enjoy your marriage after. So yes, leaving the marriage is not the solution to this, but rather you guys get knowledge about each other, get to know about each other, ask each other questions. When any issues come up, sit down and provide a solution around it, because at every phase of your marriage, issues will come. Or before your wedding, there will be issues. During the wedding, there will be issues. After wedding, there will be issues. You buy a new car, there will be issues. You move into a new house, there will be issues. The babies start coming, there will be issues. The babies start going to school, there will be issues. The children leave the house, there will be issues at every phase. So the wisdom is knowledge to handle each phase and pass each phase victoriously. See, marriage is beautiful. Marriage is a sweet thing, and it hurts my heart when I see the number of marriages being dissolved, the disaster that is happening to the institution every day. It really hurts my heart because these things can be prevented by knowledge. It will lie. All of it, not some, all of it can be prevented by knowledge, either before the marriage, during the marriage. All these things, knowledge can help to prevent the disaster that is the divorce happening in our society. So yes, that was the answer for that one. Another person said, what is your advice for someone living with a wife that is always bitter and angry at any smallest provocation, thereby making you lose interest and love for her due to her manliness nature? This one made me laugh because what the man is saying is that all men are always bitter and angry. That's what he's saying, because he said it's her manly nature. So the manly nature is bitterness and anger. Oga, you shot yourself on the foot, though, because you just described yourself as bitter and angry. But why would a woman always be angry and bitter? And very slightest provocation, she's um every slightest provocation, she's always snapping and yapping. She's not mad. She's not mad, right? She's not mad at all. I saw it. Thank you. She's not mad at all, right? How I actually answered that question, I told the man that you are the problem. You are the problem. It's just two of you that are in the marriage. So if two people are living together and one person is always angry and bitter, we'll have to look at the person they are living with and know, what are you doing to her that is making her always angry and bitter? Let's start from there. What are you doing? What are you not doing? Have you looked at yourself very well to be sure you are not the problem? Because if it's outsiders, she won't be putting it on you. If it's outsiders, she won't come to the house and manifest the anger she has against outsiders. She said she's always, you know what always means? Always bitter and angry. right? And at the slightest provocation, she's shouting. Sir, you need to look at yourself and know what you're doing wrong. That's what I think. Well, if you've come this far with us, thank you so much for staying with us. I will not allow you to forget to like, to subscribe, and to comment on this video. Please like, subscribe, and comment on this video. The Little Foxes That Spoil the Vine. Our channel, Sacred Unions and Desires, is a place where we dissect marriages and profess solutions to the issues that we face in marriages like this one. So, sir, look at yourself and be sure you're not the one causing her bitterness and anger. There is something. Maybe it's not something that has happened now. It's something that you've not handled, something that is still making her angry. You have to handle it, sir. So don't assume that your wife is a man. She has a manly nature. Meanwhile, it's not in the nature of men to be angry and bitter all the time. My husband is not angry and bitter all the time. And so also are many men that I know and those I do not know. So find out what you're doing to your wife that is keeping her in that perpetual state. And if it's someone else who is causing that, handle it. Handle it. That's your job. You're the head of the home, right? You're the head of the home. So handle it. Woo! So the questions are plenty. There's another one that I really want us to look at. She said, my brother is the father of my second son. I palpitate whenever I hear DNA test. I've poisoned my son twice, but he didn't die. I plan to push him into a river, was chased by a mad woman. I don't know what to do again. My hubby will kill me if he finds out. I'm scared. I cannot stand the shame. Oh. She said her husband is the father of her second son. How did this happen? How did this happen? How did her husband become the father of her son? Sorry, how did her brother, not her husband, become the father of her son? Something is definitely wrong with the sexuality of that marriage. Because if they were good sexually, she would have no reason to sleep with her brother. And obviously, this is not a mistake. It's something that started happening when they were young. Because if she had not been sleeping with her brother when they were younger, there is no way she would sleep with her brother as a married woman. There is a lot that sexuality has to do in our marriages. You see, the sexual health in your marriage affects a lot of things. You might say, nobody is complaining. I'm not complaining. My wife is not complaining. Are you sure? Are you guys okay sexually? Do you talk about the sexual part of your marriage? That was my desire. That was my reason. That was my why when I instituted Sacred Unions and Desires. To get Christian couples, especially, to start talking about the sexual part of their relationship, the sexual part of their marriage, which is most times neglected. Do you know that many pastors, many leaders in church, many church members, church workers cheat, both men and women, not because they want to, but because the sexual part of their marriage is neglected? And because it is an appetite that has to be fed, if it's not fed the right way, it will be fed the wrong way. The appetite doesn't go away. The need doesn't go away. The desire doesn't go away. Something has to be done about it. Something is not done to it rightly. Something will be done to it wrongly. How could a woman sleep with her brother if not that there are some things wrong with her sexuality? And though it started from when she was young, if she had a very strong sexual relationship with her husband, I don't think it will prop up its head again in her marriage. Now her second son belongs to her brother. And she has tried to kill the child twice. She has tried to kill the child twice. Things you hear and you're like, oh my God. But it's happening. It's happening. These are the little foxes that spoil the vine. A bad sex life can destroy your marriage in such a way that a bad prayer life will not destroy it. Like I said, if you, the wife, you have a bad prayer life and your husband has a good prayer life, your marriage can stand it. It will stand the test. But if both of you have a bad sexual life, your marriage will not stand the test of time. Your marriage will not stand the test of temptations, right? So really, these little foxes that spoil the vine, be decisive in dealing with them. Do not allow them to stay and pretend it doesn't matter, because one day it's going to erupt. A lot of people who are neck deep in cheating or who have children from different women did not think those things would get them that far. They never thought they would go that far. You see, a lot of women are lesbians today. They did not plan to become lesbians. There were issues sexually in their marriage, and somebody wooed them and they fell. Same thing with a lot of men. Some men are gay today because somebody wooed them with sexuality and they fell. So these things are the little foxes that spoil the vine. But we invite you to come for our meetings, our Sunday webinars by 8 p.m. every Sunday at Sacred Unions and Desires, to talk about sex in the marriage, in Christian marriages. Please don't think it's not important, because one day you realize that that knowledge would come in handy when you most need it. Well, what I told the woman, I said, it's time to call your pastor, your priest, and then it's time to call call your pastor or your priest, and then go and tell your husband what you did. And make sure you move out of the house as you're doing that, before you even talk that talk, so that he will not kill you in the night. And then that boy, I do not know what kind of future that boy is going to have, because someday they're going to tell him who his father is. But I still told her, don't stop trying to kill the child. It's not his fault that he was conceived through incest. The God that allowed him to come knows that he was conceived through incest. God surely has a plan for that boy's life, and that's why you've tried to kill him. And he has refused to die. He has refused to die because God has a plan for him. God has a plan for his life, even though he came through incest. And that's why we tell ourselves, no matter how you came into this life, God has a plan for you, a beautiful plan. If you allow him, he'll bring it to pass. So do not end your life, and do not let anything end your life, right? Let's look at another question. Just one more question. Just one more question. And we'll call it an afternoon. Just one more question. For a partner that doesn't initiate sex, how can you get him to do it? It can get tiring when as a wife you're the one initiating sex every time. This question, we actually had it, two types of it. One came from a husband and one came from a wife, and they were both talking about the same thing, initiating sex. The other partner is not initiating sex. Of course, I'm sure they are not members of Sacred Union and Desires. They are not our subscribers because our subscribers know the right thing to do. They know that initiating sex is for everybody in the house, both the man and the woman. If there are things you don't like about your partner, talk about it. You don't like how he or she smells. You don't like how he or she keeps themselves. If there's anything you don't like physically, talk about it. Find a solution for it so that your sex life can be interesting. So your sex life can be exciting, because when it's exciting, everybody wants to initiate. You're not waiting for who will start. You're not waiting for who will do it first. You know that thing that a lot of women cannot talk. They cannot say, I want you. They cannot say, I'm honey. They would rather be moving their book talks in front of the man at night. Most times the man will just ignore you and sleep because you're not being serious, right? Anybody can initiate sex. Women, don't wait. Do not wait for your husband to always do it. So also the man. Do not wait for your wife. You shouldn't be ashamed. The Bible said they were both naked and not ashamed. They were both naked and not ashamed. So anybody and everybody should initiate sex in a marriage. It's exciting. In short, people should be fighting over it. I've done 7 times. You've only done 6 times. Let it be a marathon. Let it be a competition. Who will do most in this month? Who initiates most sex the most in this month? Most of you think these things are just play. These things are not that serious until the devil knocks on your marriage, and then you will know that these things are serious as we say they are, right? Can we take one more question? Can we take one more question before we go? Okay, there was a question someone asked. Let me see if I can find it. Okay. What are the benefits of marriage? What are those things guaranteed in marriage that a man or woman cannot get outside marriage? We'll be closing with this question. What are the things you cannot get outside marriage? You know that if you talk about sex, you can get it outside marriage. If you talk about children, you can get it outside marriage. If you talk about companionship, you can get it outside marriage. The things you cannot get outside marriage, amazing, they are legal things, right? They are legal things. And God is so smart and wise that He made sure it's not physical things that you can't get outside marriage. It's legal things, things that are binding, things you can't do anything about, things you cannot change. Those are the things that are binding in the marriage. For example, if there's a will, the will goes to the partner automatically on the death of a spouse. The will goes to the partner. So if you're not married and you are cohabiting with the person and you're not married to the person, you will have challenges trying to get the person's estate. You have challenges trying to claim the person's properties and will, right? Same thing when it comes to tax. There are some tax evasions that is allowed for married people. There are couples that how do I put it? There are couples that they get some tax cut off for them if they are in business together. There are a lot of things. I'm going to put up a little research I did on the things you can get without being the things you cannot get except you're married to your partner. The things you cannot get, the benefits you cannot get except you're married. I'm going to put up the link in the comment section later so that you can go through it and know that marriage protects you under the law. Marriage protects you under the law. Don't buy that crap that they are selling in these end times that you can cohabit together and be happy. Marriage is your protection under the law from a lot of things, from gaining the person's insurance, and from having health care. We know that if you're working for the government or some other places, your wife or your husband and your kids are entitled to health care because you work there. Your side chick is not entitled to the health care. Your brother is not entitled to that health care. Your sister, your mother, they are not entitled to health care in your office. But your husband, your wife, or your kids are entitled to health care. What is it telling you? There are protections that marriage can give you that you cannot get it outside, right? We are not even talking about the spiritual part now, where you'll be right with God when you have sex in your marriage alone. So yes, there are a lot of benefits you can get if you are married that you cannot get without being married. So I think that's for today. This is where we'll be ending. There are quite a number of questions that we did not take. Quite a number of questions that we did not take. But for today, I just said, let me talk about the little foxes that spoil the vine. Those little things that we don't call anything, but they are the little things that destroy our marriages. See, marriage is built up of many little things, not just big things, little things that seems like they don't matter. Greeting each other in the morning, being nice to each other, rubbing each other's back, all those little things, they matter a lot. Do not let the little foxes spoil your vine. Your vine is precious. You have to guard it against these little foxes, these behaviors, these attitudes, these habits that come to spoil your marriage. Don't give room to them. Don't give room to them. But you will not give room to them if you have the right kind of knowledge. So don't go anywhere. Stay with us at Sacred Unions and Desires, and you learn much more as we go on. Next Sunday, we are going to be completing our teaching on how to please a man. We've talked so much about pleasing a woman in the marriage. We're going to be completing how to please a man. We talked about the hand job. We're going to be talking about the blow job by next week, how a woman can please her man through a blow job. Thank you so much for staying with me. Remember to subscribe to Sacred Unions and Desires. Give us a like and comment on whether this video had any good information or great information, or you learned anything from this video. Thank you. My name is Amara Miracle Ndronofit, and I remain your host on Sacred Unions and Desires. Stay blessed.